Greetings. This is Joe Jackson. I'm one of the co-pastors here at the church at Wellington. We are on an adventure of 21 days of prayer and fasting, simply going by the theme, Go Forward. All of this comes out of the story of when the Israelites were released from their bondage in Egypt, and they traveled and went through the Red Sea. So today we find ourselves at day number 2, simply titled The Way of the Wilderness. Taken out of verse number 18, the very first part of it simply says this: God led the people around by the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. Okay, so the people could not go through the short way to the promised land because of the Philistines and the threat of war. So the next best pathway for them is through the wilderness. That doesn't sound very fun. If you look on a map of their travels, you should find that not only did they go through the wilderness, they went the long way through the wilderness. As a matter of fact, the wilderness they will travel through is so large that it also is broken down into smaller wilderness sections, one of which is named the Way of the Wilderness of Sin. The wilderness of sin. Ouch. Sounds like it's time to fasten the seat belts. It's going to be a bumpy ride for the children of Israel. And it was. The way of the wilderness is a difficult and dangerous path. It's not for the faint of heart, nor the cowardly in spirit. The way of the wilderness will crush the weak and melt the half-hearted. This travel route was the longest and most difficult of the 3 main trade roads through the desert. It included long stretches without fresh water, rocky and mountainous terrain, and very little for a natural food supply. Considering that God's people numbered by some estimates hundreds of thousands and other estimates even into the millions, this was an insane pathway to take by all natural standards. Look, it will only be by the grace and the mercy of God that this ragtag group of travelers are going to survive. Guys, it is by that same grace and mercy of God that you are going to not just survive, but you are going to flourish through this time of prayer and fasting. So what does this all have to do with us? Let me find 6 quick applications for you to consider today. Number 1, you are, as we say here in the South, you're fitting to go through a wilderness. Tighten the sandals up. You're going through a wilderness area. Number 2, you are not being pushed. Nobody's forcing you to do this fast. Look at the verse again that we read. It specifically says God led the people. Look, on this time of fasting, God has not thrown you out into the wilderness so you would die, but that so you might learn to be led as never before. Number 3, some of the terrain will be rough. Fasten up tight, because what is ahead for you is going to be difficult. But when you are facing the really tough times during these 21 days of fasting, please remember, God's not pushing you, He's leading you, and it is for the best for your life. Number 4, the way of the wilderness might cause you to have to face some of the past sins in order to clear out that remaining dross, all that is left over from your former self. Do not be afraid of the past. Allow God to lead you through the purifying process so you might be better when you prevail. Number 5, the wilderness does not last forever. Several times in the King James Version of the Bible, it makes a statement like, it came to pass. Well, this wilderness experience for you in this time of prayer and fasting has also came that it might pass, so that you will be better because you have traveled here. And finally, number 6, God's pathway will always leave you better. Remember those short 6 items for you today. Make application for your life. Read, study, pray, and remember this: you serve a great God, and so you can expect great things. May God bless you. Go and be godly, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.